Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Tips and Tricks Tuesday and we're going to continue with the coloring in the Johanna Basford's World of Wonders that we started last Tuesday. If you remember, we did the floral area over here in the Arteza colored pencils, and we covered how I do the leaves, both whimsical, shadowed, and natural, as well as some floral accents there as well. Today we're going to start working on the cat a little bit. So we're going to do a lot of florals through the cat, some leaves, as well as the cat colors themselves. I don't know if we'll get through all of it today, but we will do our best on how much we will get done today. I may continue it afterwards so that we're not working on one area all the time. Next week I want to get into this area where there's some mushrooms and other smaller leaves as well. So I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera. Today we're going to actually use a different set of pencils. This was done with the Arteza colored pencils, and today we're going to use the Shuttle Art colored pencils because I haven't used them in a long time, and not nearly enough to warrant having them if I don't use them, right? So that's what we're going to be using today. I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera, and I'm going to move the book over a little bit here so you can see what I'm working on. Now I'm going to zoom it in just a touch here. Yeah, about there, maybe there. So there we are. We'll zoom it into there and we'll start back here. Now this is in the book, so I will be constantly fidgeting with it, trying to make it flat, but I will try not to. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to color an area with a base coating for the cat. I want to do the cat in orangey yellow color. So I'm going to do the base coating in pale yellow, which is number 158 in your Shuttle Arts, or in your black brute funers, or any of those other 180 black barreled sets. Because I do believe they are all the same. So I'm just putting down a light base layer of this light color. Around all of the flowers and floral areas. Now, I don't normally color things that have these whimsical doodles on them, only because I don't typically know how to color them. I'm going to color them as naturally as I see the flowers, with a little bit of whimsy behind it, because yeah, they're on the fur of a cat. So I can't color it 100% natural, obviously, but I am going to take each part and color it as I see each part would be colored in the natural world here. So I'm not trying to get 100% coverage here. I'm just putting down a very faint base layer. I'm sorry if you can't see that on camera. It is a very light color. Just putting down color for the sake of color, I guess. And then on the tail as well. Now the cat I'm going to do in kind of a brownish orange color. So that's why I'm doing it in this pale yellow, so that when I go over it I have a contrasting color for the highlights. Just getting in between all those leaves and berries and whatnots, and trying not to go over top of any of the leaves. Now the Shuttle Arts 180 set is actually a very nice set. I don't have too many scratchy pencils, and they do lay down color quite nicely, so they seem to be working very well on the Johanna Basford's book. And the paper in this book is a little bit smoother than, well, it's quite a bit smoother than most other coloring books, and it's a nice thick paper, so it works really, really well. All right, so we're going to start on the leaves of the tail, and I'm going to grab this just so that I can have it handy. And I'm just going to, so we're going to take a light green, so we're going to grab a yellowish green to start. This is yellowish green number 102. And we're just going to coat the leaf. Just putting down a base coat. These pencils do smush together quite nicely, however they do like being layered as well. So, and with the coloring style I use, most of the time I have a tendency to layer from dark to light. However, with the colors that I want these leaves to be, it's just easier to layer from light to dark and then go over it again and blend with the lightest color. And I'm just going up the stalk so that all the colors have the same consistency. Now the next one we're going to use, of course, is going to be spring green, and this is a medium green. And I'm just going to coat the entire leaf in it. That base layer gives me the ability to lighten this color a little bit. As I'm moving up the leaf, I am lightening my grip and lightening the amount of pressure I'm putting down on the pencil, which lightens the color. So down here at the base, I'm going in a little bit heavier. Then as I come up towards the tip of the leaf, I'm lightening up a little bit. Now another thing that you can definitely do is you can just come up part of the way, like so, and then fill in the rest of it with your dark and smush that together. want to come in with a couple of other colors on some of these leaves, so I'm just going to only do some of it. Some of the leaves I'm going to keep in its natural colors, but some of it I'm just going to add a couple of extras, just because. And of course, do what is comfortable to you. Um, sometimes following a YouTuber or following somebody else is wonderful. It teaches you a lot. Um, but but basically, you just got to pick it up and do what feels natural to you and what makes you happy. If layering doesn't make you happy, don't layer. Squish. Just mash those colors together until it gives you a good result. Um, when you're layering, choose your colors, put down your colors, and just mash them together, and it will turn out fine. I know a lot of people that color that way. I used to color that way. And then I found out that layering I can get more colors on. Sometimes that is a bad thing. All right, so the next color I'm going to use is, let's see here. No, don't want that one. The one thing about this set that, can be very perplexing is it does have a lot of different colors. So the next one I'm going to use is dark green. However, it's not as perplexing as the 520 set. That set I would have to actually choose some colors in. So I'm just going heavy down at the bottom here in the areas that would be under a shadowy area. Lightening the grip up as I move up the flower. Putting in a little bit darker at the tip, but leaving that center area nice and open there. And then I'm going to take my light green again, and this is once again the light yellowish green, and I'm just going to blend it together with that light yellowish green. Now if I find that I don't have as much color on there as I want, dark color on there as I want, I should say, I just continue to adjust that. So I just take the dark green once again and just put in a little bit more. Basically all you're doing with that yellowish, light yellowish green is at the very tips, blending that color into the other color so there's not a hard line. And giving it a little bit of a highlight space. Just removing any hard lines that are there. Alright, and then we're going to do this one here. This one here, I'm going to go up from the bottom and bring that dark line in from the bottom because that's where the darker color is going to be, where the shadow is. Now I'm not putting in any shadows for the overlaps or anything like that. Well, I guess I will, but just not on the fur itself because of the factor of this is supposed to be a part of his fur. So you won't have that overlap. Now I'm just going up the stalk with the dark green. And I'm not trying to cover the entire thing. I'm just being loose with it so that some of that light green shows through. Now I'm going to take the light green and I'm just going to blend that together eliminating that hard line and brightening up that small area. And I have my brush in my hand and I still wiped it with my finger. Try to keep your brush handy. Like I said, I had it right in my hand and I still... Now this one here, I'm going to add a couple of other colors, so I'm just going to do a little bit of the dark green. This one here, we're going to put the dark green down here at the bottom where that shadow of his seated area is going to create. And you just go, as you go up the vine or as you go up the leaf, decide where your light is going to hit. Now, we already know because of the clues that the artist has put in that the light is hitting directly straight on. So we know that the center parts of these leaves are all going to have light on top of them. We know this area here is shadowed because of the clues that the artist has put out there for us. And that's just one of the things that is great to look for when you're coloring a picture, is see if the artist has given you any sort of clues on what areas they expect things to be in. Like what areas did the artist expect to be shadowed? Now I'm going to grab a purple-ish color. I don't really want dark purple. Let's see, which one's this one? It's a little bit too dark. I think we're going to go with a lighter purple. So we're going to go with pale purple here. And we're going to add some pale purple. The green will darken it up a little bit and muddy it up a little bit. So if you don't want to put this right over top of your green, of course you can definitely add that first and just blend into it with that pale green, light green. I'm just going to add a little tiny bit to the tips of these bigger leaves down here. Because why not? A little bit of purple never hurt nobody. Now I'm going to take the dark green, go into the base of the leaf here. And the further up you get, the less of the dark green you're going to use. And more of the other colors that you're going to use because of the fact that there's not as much shadow going on there. So just blend in all three of those colors together here. If you do find that you're getting too much of the light yellowy green color, you can definitely use a white or a blender pencil and blend it together that way as well. Alright, so we're going to take our purple. Like I said, as I get further and further up, the more purple I'm going to use, the less green I'm going to use. And I can also add a little bit of red to this as well. If I decide to. So let's add a little tiny bit of red. So this is red. It's just straight red, number 6. So let's see how that looks with just a touch of red in it as well there. Then we'll blend down the green area. And with this yellow-green, that red is going to turn a little orange. That's why I'm not going completely over all of it, just bringing it down a little bit. Now I need my blender pencil. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. So I'm going to use the Prismacolor blender pencil because it does blend these thicker wax areas a little bit better than the Caran d'Ache. And I just want to blend it together. I don't want to add more color. And then we'll take a little bit more of the purple. And a touch more of the green. We're going to take our dark green and go in here. And a little tiny touch of the red on the tip here. I think I need to sharpen my red because it's kind of dull. So go this way and sharpen that. Get a nice tight sharp point on it. And just put a little bit in there. Like so. And then we'll blend it down a little bit with the purple. And I'm going to sharpen this one a little bit too. I like things having a really, really, really sharp point, especially when I'm working with really small areas, in order to get into those tighter areas better. Just going to put a little tiny bit more purple on there. And then we'll blend it together. And I am using the blender pencil because I don't want to muddy those colors that I just added. Adding a little bit of color is fantastic, but if you blend it the wrong way, you can end up with basically brown. So you have to be careful when you're adding certain colors, especially when you're adding things that create brown, which is purple, red, and yellow, which is an orange, which is what you get with the yellowed green here. You get a type of an orange if you go over it with the red. So you have to be careful how much of each you're adding so that you don't just make brown, because you will end up doing it. I do it all the time. Alright, so now we're going to take our green, our darker green, and just make sure that we have that dark area. Now there's several different ways that you can do your darker areas. You can either just color it in nice and solid, or with these smaller leaves, I'm just doing little flicks of the darker green to give it more of a veiny kind of look to it. I'm going to sharpen this up a little tiny bit more. just so I can get a really good sharp point on it, so that when I do these little flicks, it actually flicks it out and creates that little fan effect. Now typically I would turn the page for this to do the other ones on the other side, but because it is in a book, it makes it very difficult to do that. Alrighty, so we've got our dark green in there. And then we're going to take our purple, and we're going to start at the tip. We're just going to add a little bit of the purple in here. And on, a couple of them we'll add a bit of red. And blend it together. You don't have to be exact all the way up. As you know, with leaves and things like that, they change on even on one plant. You can have one plant where the leaves are completely green until you reach one branch that is completely purple. It happens. I have a blueberry plant out in the garden that has the exact thing that I'm speaking of happening right now. So it has one branch that all the leaves are purple and red and orange, where the rest of the leaves are all green. It's very strange. Just going to blend that in. I think I'm going to leave these ones completely alone. Just add a little bit more of that dark green. And then we'll blend those with the yellow green. I don't know why my camera hates green, but it just seems to. It just seems to really dislike green. It's very strange. Alright, now the next ones here, I'm just going to take some purple, and I'm trying to make them as not even as uniform as possible. I'm trying to think of the right word for as random but as uniform as possible. So, if I do this set of leaves with a little bit of purple, I may not do the next set. Or I may just do half a set. It all depends. So we're going to do this one here. It's very random how nature does its thing. So this one here, I'm going to add a little bit of red. Let's not break the pencils. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of the green here and blend that all together. I hope that everybody has been enjoying the tour of the corner. I am taking a break today to make sure that I get this video out because this one is fairly important. You know, and it gives me a chance to color, which is important to me. I don't get a lot of chances to color anymore between home and videos and websites, and especially since I've decided that I'm swatching everything, so I don't I have a lot of swatching to do. This one I'm just going to put in a little bit more of the green. And as the leaves go up, the less coloration, more green, because the newer leaves are the smaller leaves, and those are definitely going to be a lighter color. So the further up we go, the lighter the colors are. So I'm going to stop using that really dark green, and I'm going to go in with the spring green, which is a darker green than the yellow, light yellow green, but a lighter green than the dark green. And we're just going to start adding it instead for our darker areas. I know I've already gone through and added a little bit of that dark green, which is fine because once I go in with the spring green, it just brightens it up a little bit. Then we're going to take little tiny touches of purple on some of the tips of the leaves. And then a little bit of red on some of the other ones. Then we're going to fill these little berries in with red. And then we're going to take the spring green and we're just going to draw or color the lines. Try not to press too hard. I have a tendency to press really hard if I can't see where the color is going. Okay, and there we have his coloring on his tail. Now for these ones here, we're going to take our spring green, or our dark green first, and because it's a larger area, I can definitely go from the dark to the light in this area. So I'm just going to cover the areas that I know should be darker with the dark green because of the shadows that are created around it. And I'm just going down the vein of the leaf. And just putting in all of that dark shadowy detail there. Trying to make sure that I get into those little crevices with as much color as possible, but still maintaining the shadow. Okay. I will be doing another part to the corner at some point soon. I think either later today or tomorrow, depending upon how the day goes. And we'll be covering glitters and glues and brushes and storage and all that fun stuff. All the joyous things. Okay, so I'm going in with spring green now. And I'm going from those darker areas and just adding it and feathering out from those darker areas. Bringing that dark color into a lighter tone. Of course, I will be going through with the lighter green and filling in the center area as well. Now this area here, because of the shadow from the back of the cat, should be a bit darker. So I'm just going to put in that shadow. The one thing I do like about these shuttle arts is they do blend really nicely together. So when you add layer upon layer, you're able to bring that color together and have it look in a gradients without a really hard line, which is great. I like that because I don't like harsh lines. Don't like hard lines. I like it to look as naturally progressive as possible. Alright. I know this is probably boring as all heck. Alright, so I've got that. Oh, I've got another one here. Now this one here, because it is very heavily shadowed, I am going to cover most of the flower, or the leaf I should say, with those darker colors. I will leave a small area open for the yellow-green, but not a huge amount of area. Just like this one here, it's mostly shadowed, so there's not a huge amount of area that is going to be a darker color, or a lighter color I should say. Alright, and then we're going to take our yellow-green and we're just going to blend that entire thing all together. Same with down here. And put that yellow-green at the tip. And blend those colors all together. Making it a nice happy leaf. And there's another one down here that I need to do as well, that I forgot to do under his bottom. Alright. And if you find that there's little crumbles coming off your pencil or coming off the page of the other colors, just use your brush and dust it away. Alright, so this one here, we're going to do our dark. There's going to be a lot of dark shadow because of the kitty's bum. I take the spring green and we just extend that out a little bit. Blending into that dark green. And then we can take that yellow green and just add to it. And there we have it. It's not as bright as the other one there, so I'm just going to take some more of this dark green here. These are done with two different sets of pencils, so there is different color variations because I can't have the exact same colors in every set. And to be honest, I really don't think I would expect to or want to have all the exact same colors. Yeah, a good variation is a good thing. But they do seem to blend together quite nicely, so that's good. Normally I don't jump around on my pencils in using different sets, but in order to show you the differences between a wax base and that sort of thing, I am going to jump in between different sets to mix it up and give you a better perspective on what colors are available to you and what can be used together. Now I'm going to take this one here, which is obviously not cadmium yellow, but it says it's cadmium yellow. It's an olivey color. And then we're going to take another light olive color as well, which is a darker color. And we're going to do these ones back here. This is a olivey yellow color, which is fine. Like I said, we'll do them, but it's a very olivey yellow color. Almost a yellow olive, or green olive. I'm just putting down the light color because it's a very good blender color. So when you go over it with your darker color, as you lift up your pencil getting to the edge, it blends that, it lightens that color up really nicely. Gives a different tone to it. Alright. Now as you can see, I'm using a lot of yellowy kind of colors for the leaves and everything else in on the cat, because of the fact that I'm going to do the cat in orange. So in order to, like an orangey brown, rusty brown kind of color, in order not to horribly clash with that color. Of course green goes really well with orange, but I don't want it to blend in. Using that contrasting greeny brown yellow color, greeny yellow color, does give me the ability to have those areas stand out a little bit, but still blend in quite nicely. Alright, now we're going to take our spring green do the leaves of the snowdrops here. Don't know if that's exactly what they are, but that's what they look like to me, is snowdrops. And then we're going to take our dark green and add our shadows from the overlap of the plant as well as the back side of the cat. And snowdrop leaves are pretty dark normally anyway, so. Okay, and then I'm just going to blend that all together with a little bit more of the spring green. Just to make sure I've got most of the white spot covered up. And I missed that area, so add a little bit more. Then I'm going to take the yellow green and I'm just going to go through and blend it all together. I could do this with the blending pencil, however the yellow green does give it a little bit more of a brighter contrast on that spring green. Alright, so next is there's a lot of yellowish greens in here. There's middle yellowish, and I think I have light yellowish out. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to take apple green. And that's the great thing about green, is there's so many different greens available. So we're going to take apple green and we're going to bring that down into the flower. Now, as you know, the snowdrops are usually white. And green, so we're just going to bring that green down into the flower a bit. Put in those little bits of shadow. Like that. Then we're going to take our white pencil. Let's see, there it is. And we're just going to blend that all together with the white pencil. Trying not to drag too much of that green into the white areas, but still have enough of it that it's showing that there's a green shadow underlay on it. Okay. sure that I covered everything. So one thing about white is you can't see where you've put it unless it's on a tan color. That tan tone paper is so much fun to play with. I need to get some more because white just stands out on it so nicely. Alright, so let's do the little areas there. That is usually done in a nice orange, yellow orange color. So we're going to do it autumn gold. There we go. Such as so. Now I'm going to actually do the back of the cat here, just so that you guys can see where I'm going with that. So I'm going to take warm yellow and I'm just going to fill in these areas here. I've just noticed that the time is getting away from me here, so I don't want to be here all day with you. Well, not that I don't want to, it's I don't want to, make it too long for you guys and make it more annoying. Now, naturally and instinctively, I've wanted to put in shadows for these plants, and it's not needed. The plants are supposed to be a part of the fur and a part of the cat, so in my brain anyway. So it's not necessary to put in those shadows. So I'm just going to extend that out a little bit for the shadows that should be there, and then I will go through and I'll utilize that shadow that I put in for the plants that I've just instinctively put in there. That isn't necessary for the coloration on the cat. Now back here we are going to have a shadow from the arch of the cat's back, because the cat isn't flat, there is a curvature there. So I am going to add that shadow in for the curvature of the cat. So I'm just extending that yellow that I put in around these plant bits here, so that when I blend into it with the other color, it will actually blend into it properly. And I know on camera that looks awfully bright. It is not as bright as it looks on that camera. I don't know why that camera hates greens and highlights yellows, but it's honestly not as bright as it looks. And you will see that once we get over to the other camera. Alright, so we're going to use I think this one. No, bright orange red. And I'm putting a very, very light touch to this in those shadowy areas. So where the arch of the cat's back is going to be, we're going to put that a nice bright orange red color. And then we'll come into it with a brown and we will soften that up a little bit. Same with down here. Just because that's the shadow of the cat's front leg. And like I said, I'll come in with a with a brown and soften that up. And then we're just going to add some yellows to or oranges to this. And I'm just using a very light hand, not putting too deep of a color there. And then we're going to go into our browns a little bit more. And we're going to grab there's a lot of yellowy colors here. So we're going to grab ochre, light ochre first. And we're going to go right into this orangey red color, yellowy red color, which would be an orange color, I guess. And we're just going to bring that out, extend that up. And that ochre is a little bit let's add a little bit of ginger to that as well. Just to get a little bit of that tan. There we go. That's what I wanted. Just to get some of that tan color in there. This cat is looking awfully orange on camera. I do apologize. It's not actually that orange, I promise. Now we're just going to go in with some of the ginger color. And bring it out. Just going to go over the whole area now with the ginger. Hopefully this will turn out okay. I'm a little bit concerned on how orange it's looking. I have an idea in my brain and it's not coming out the way my brain is saying it should because I haven't got all the colors in yet. And I know that it's at the ugly teenager stage. I just have to let it be and work with it and get it to where I want it to be. And Brain knows this. Brain is just having a temper tantrum going, no. We're just going to add a little bit more of the ginger. And then we're going to take chocolate and brown. So we're going to start with brown, I do believe. Now let's start with chocolate. And we're just going to put some darker colors in here to tone down that orange a little bit. And it still looks really orange on camera because my camera is picking up the oranges and the browns instead of just the brown tones. But don't worry, it's not as orange as it looks on camera, I promise. So now I'm just going in with the brown. Bringing out that brown color a little bit. Making sure that I have all of the areas covered equally because there is no shadow in this area beyond the seating of the cat. Just going to add a little bit more of the chocolate in here. Extending that out a little bit because of his arm there. And then adding a little bit more of the brown. And then I'm just going to go very, very, very gently with the brown, extending that color out into all the other areas. Like so, and that is looking awfully orange to you guys. Let's see if we can adjust that. I don't know why it's coming up that orange. Oh, because I've got the gain up way too high. Nope, I think this the no, definitely not that. I don't know why it's doing that. There, that's a little bit better, but then my greens are not looking right, but that's all right. And then we're just going to take the blender pencil. You can also do this with your white pencil and just blend it all together. Try to make sure your blender pencil is not dirty. I just put some green in it because I didn't check and make sure that my blender pencil didn't have green in it. Not that it's a big deal because he's got green all over him. And I'm just blending all those colors together leaving this area up here for the light area because the light is hitting directly on the animal. And giving the positioning of this leg in front as a dark area because it would be shadowing everything because it's in front of it. And making sure that the shadow in the back is all blended in. Alright, use your brush, not your hand. Don't be a me. Alright, so we have done some leaves and we did the snowdrops as well as the back of the cat. And I will continue working on that throughout the day. I want to switch over to the main camera here so you can actually see the proper colors. He is a little bit browner than I wanted, but I'm pretty satisfied with that color. I didn't want him as orange as it was coming out, um, but the yellow color is actually very satisfactory to me. So, of course, I could go over it with the pale orange that I went, or the pale yellow that I went over it with in the first place, and give it just a little bit more of a oomph on that highlighted area. Just when you do that, be very careful because um, if you've got too many layers, the tooth of the paper will stop accepting your colors. And if you do what I just did and try to wipe away any crumbles with your hand, what's going to happen is you're going to end up coloring something a color that you don't want it to be. So another thing that you can do to blend, let's brush this off. Make sure that there's no crumbs on there. Make sure that all of the color bits are gone. But you can take your finger and you can just move the color around a little bit just with the oils on your fingers. So you can definitely do that as well. Alright guys, I hope this was at least a bit of a help on how to color a whimsical type of floral in the Johanna Basford's coloring books, as well as the way to color some of the leaves. Now I know a lot of her pictures have this type of leaf as well as this type of leaf. A lot of them have these little tiny leaves as well. And you just color them the same way that you would color any other leaves. And if you find that there's a lot of little leaves there, just give it a couple of ticks of, like, for example, these ones down here. What I would do with these ones down here, because they are itty bitty, they're tiny, is I would take my sharp dark green and I would take my sharp apple green and I'd color it in the apple green, color in the full thing. Let's switch you over to the close-up camera so you can see here. So you color it in with the full light green, apple green, any lighter color that you want to color it in as. And then you take your darker color and you just do little flicks from the base up until you are satisfied with the color that it is. And then you can take your lighter green, come back in from the top down, and blend that together. And that's all it takes with those little tiny ones. You don't need to do a whole lot to them. You can of course do that with any color that you want to. You don't have to do it with green, of course. You can do that purple or blue or whatever color suits your fancy. I just have a thing about natural colors, so I just naturally color them the way they are in nature. So, but that's how you deal with those smaller leaves that it is very prominent in a lot of Johanna's books, as well as her drawings are these little tiny leaves, and basically all I do is I just color them in a light color and then take a darker color and just put in some flicks for shadowing and for contrast. This one here, because the cat is going to be darker on one side. This one here is going to be darker because the cat. And the ones that are going to be darker because the animal, you just color in your shadow and then add your light color and then just go over the light color with the darker color. Just give it the contrast that it needs. Some of them you'll just color in full dark and then just go over it with the light just to lighten it up just a smidge. Like that. Now I'll switch back over to the main camera and hopefully you can see that. But yeah, that's how I deal with the leaves and the flowers and all of the fun things that you find in Johanna Basford's books. I will continue with this page next week so that we can do these flowers over here with the mushrooms, and I can show you how I do mushrooms. I will continue the cat throughout the week so that you're not watching me just do cat. All right, guys. Remember to relax, color, and stay safe. If you want to support the channel, of course, all you need to do is hit that join button. What that join button does is shows you all the different membership options that are available and the perks that come with those memberships. There are a couple of different perks that I throw in there throughout the months as well. One of which is access to some wonderful pictures that Lisa created for us. She is the wonderful artist that was on with Delane from Color Pocket when we did the Color Pocket interviews, as well as all of my swatch sheets that I have been creating. Those are all part of my membership perks. So if you want to hit the membership button there and hit the join button, and you can join up for as low as $1.99 a month and as high as $3.99 a month, depending upon what perks you want. What else was I going to say? If you want to join us over on Facebook, we are actually starting a new event starting yesterday of Dive into Dover. So, because yesterday was National Coloring Book Day, which was created by Dover Publications, we are actually going to honor Dover Publications with a event where you just color anything that is Dover publication, put one per person picture into the event album, and somebody is going to win that event at the end of the month. So if you want to join us over on Facebook for that event, you can definitely do so by filling out the application form, coloring anything Dover, and putting it in the event album. Just make sure that you fill out the application form because unfortunately we don't accept anybody that doesn't fill out the application form. That is for security reasons for our members as well as for our group. What else was I going to say? Oh, I have a community page that does carry a lot of information, not only for the group and for things that I have colored and posted there, but also for different coupon codes and different discounts and different deals of the day that are on Amazon. I am an Amazon affiliate, so clicking any of the links on the discount pages, like on the community page or on any of my videos, those links are affiliate links, and I do get paid for every time that you use those links. This, of course, is at no cost to you. It just helps out the channel a little bit with a couple of pennies coming from Amazon. yeah, that's about it. I was completely successful in my no buy July, so I don't have any haul videos this month, but I'll be making up for that next month. Well, in August. I do have a couple of things already coming in. So yeah, wait for those. And yeah, I will be continuing on with another video from the corner tour. And hopefully it'll be one of the last videos, maybe. It makes me wonder how much room I actually have in this corner because I'm fitting a lot into it. It would be. I can't wait until I get into an actual room to see how much stuff I end up with. Because yeah, just being in the corner, I've already done 3 videos and I haven't even gotten through any of the coloring books. So, eek. All right, guys, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. I hope this video was at least helpful. Always remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave me a comment if there's anything that you want me to show you how to do um, in any of the Tips and Tricks Tuesday videos, and I will definitely do my best to incorporate that into one of the videos. Other than that, guys, I think I am done here today. You guys have a fantastic, fantastic day. Until next time, of course, which will be tomorrow for Work in Progress Wednesday, and I think we will be working on this. So definitely tomorrow, join me for a live session of Work in Progress Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Until then, bye bye for now.